Okay, everybody. Not exactly sure how to do this, but feel like it needs to be done. So we're just going to go ahead and try to toss something up on YouTube today. So was working today, not feeling too great to be honest with you, but um, had a prompting that I needed to look at the calendars today, and sure enough, 12th of January 2023 p.m. That'd be now is something like a red letter day. I still don't understand exactly what a red letter day is, but one, two, three, four calendars have this as a major holy day. And so decided to think and pray about it a little bit. And as I prayed, I thought I should go look at an article that John wrote about Enoch's 10-week prophecy. That's what he calls it. And this is back in 2015, so we're 8 years out, 7.5 years out from this, and don't know that anybody's really talked about it a whole lot. But I've come back and looked at it several times, and today I was drawn really to this ninth week. And John claims that the ninth week began on the day, Sunday, 26th of March, 1820. And he says it's the very day proposed in 2002 in my work as the date of the first vision of the latter day prophet Joseph Smith. So, this ninth week, if John's interpretation is right, runs from 1820 through 2547, but that includes the entire period of the millennium. He goes on to talk about how, if his interpretation is right, that judgment will occur sometime around 3172 or after 3172. And so, you take off 1,000 years from 3172, you get 2172. And I felt like I should just look at all the red letter days in between now and 2172 or ish, somewhere around there. So I went ahead to the calendar spreadsheet and I did that. And it's a little bit wonky and messy because I wasn't planning on making a video, so I apologize for that, but just kind of bear with me. As I dumped these in, one thing I noticed is that a lot of these are really close to they're red letter days, but then they're also close to beginning of the cycle on the priest date. And for whatever reason, I just felt like I should look up the names of the priests um, during this time. Now, there's nothing too incredibly special about this because these names mean the same thing all throughout history. And one thing that John taught is that the names on the priest calendar all have reference to a part of the Savior's ministry. So I don't want people to go all crazy about this or anything like that, but this is what I felt like I should do, and so I'm gonna do it. So I'm learning just to do the things I feel like I ought to. So let's talk about this. So the first red letter day coming up isn't for another 9 years, and that's in 2032. Um, this is at the time where the priest at the priest cycle. It's the last day of, and I'm gonna totally mispronounce these, so just forgive me, but it's going to be something like Pethahiah. And when you look up what that means, it means the Lord opening. So, in other words, it's something that we can't open, but the Lord can. So, Friday, the 2nd of April, 2032. And this is where I kind of noticed as I reviewed that the next day would also be a holy day on the priest calendar. And so up here you'll see that I did the 3rd of April, 2032. And it's a red letter day on a couple other calendars. And it's also a minor holy day on the priest calendar, one Jehezekiel. And Jehezekiel means strength of God. Okay. So now, if we just kind of go down through these, you'll see that 2048, we have a red letter day, and it's during the time of canopy or covering. Uh, that's what Huppah means. I think they usually spell with a C these days, Chuppah. The 7th of September, 2051, is Jehorib, which means Yahweh contends. The 24th of March in 2070 is in the priest in that cycle. It's Yeshua or Jeshua, which just means Savior. It's literally his name, right? And we can see that he was at the temple on the day one, Jeshua, when he was born. Later that year, on the 22nd of September, 2070, um, that's during the priestly course of Eliashib, which means God restores. And then a couple years later, we have the 22nd of March, during the time of Hezer, which means a bog converted. We just had one of these days at the end of last year that I've not published a video about, but there was also a red letter day that kind of snuck by because it wasn't on the calendar I was looking at. And so my attention was drawn to it due to some other things going on in my life. But this is that same um, priest that was over that time. So a year later, approximately, in the time of, and I don't know how to say that at all, Jakin, probably, which means he fixes and establishes. Then we have to wait 16 years, but during that time is a time of rejuvenation during Bilgah, right? For those 7 days. Each of these is only for 7 days. We have the 8th of December in 2124 is during the time of Hakaz, or Hakaz, I don't know how to say that. It means reaping, thorn, or end. Then 10th of September 2133, it's Abijah, which means my father is Yah. 25th of September 2162 is Jakim, which means raised up or established. 2168, on the 1st of April, we are on that last day that's not considered a holy day by John, which is kind of interesting because most of these cycles, the first and the last day, are considered holy. But with the priest calendar, he never said that. So I don't know though. I mean, John was clear that his understanding was incomplete, and maybe we'll find out later that these last days are also considered holy. I don't know. Um, but it's the Eliashib is the priest in charge of the temple at that time. That means God restores. And then because it was on that last day, I just decided to look at the next day. And that next day is actually, fairly impressive in and of itself. 1, 2, 3, 4 major holy days. 1, 2, 3, 4 minor holy days. That's the 2nd of April. This would be conference, if General Conference is still being held in 2168. Something tells me it probably won't be, but who knows, right? And then the last one here is on the 17th of June, 2170, which is a red letter day on these three calendars that we said were so important. But it's also, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 calendars. That's a major holy day, and 1, 2 minor holy day. And we're just one day off from being on that first day of Hakaz, or however you say that, which is again that reaping, thorn, or end, which is really interesting to me. I mean, this one's fascinating. It's probably the reason I decided to do this video, because you're 1,000 years before the time, approximately, that John Pratt says was going to be the final judgment, and you need 1,000 years of millennium in there, and it just so happens that this June 17th, 2170 happens to be on the day, which means end, right? And harvest, or reaping, excuse me. So I did put in the 16th of June, 2170 up here. You can see this is also a major red letter day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 7 major holy days, 1, 2 minor holy days. Not sure what's going on with the Hebrew calendar here. I'd be interested to know how close we are to another red letter day on here. But we do know the next day is red letter day. So, and just out of curiosity, we'll just do some live research here. Let's look at what 1 Tammuz means. Okay, so it just says here that Tammuz is the month of the sin of the golden calf, which resulted in Moses breaking the tablets of the 10 Commandments. Let's see. we can see anything else about the specific day. So here we have again the month of Tammuz. It denotes a Babylonian god and the sin of idolatry, which is really interesting. I mean, so the end of idolatry, maybe? I don't know. And I don't see anything right off the time or right off the top of the search here that shows that one Tammuz is anything important. But so here's something interesting. Let's just look at this. Don't call it Tammuz. um, it's a pagan fertility deity. Interesting. So was a fertility god who represented the life cycle of wheat. So again, it has to do with reaping and harvesting wheat. Fertility gods. I don't. Yeah, I mean it's pretty interesting symbolism in my world. But I sure wish John were around to help us understand. But maybe there's somebody out there who knows better than I do. I don't know. If you do, get in touch with me. I'd be interested. It's very interesting to me that the Hebrews adopted this name of a pagan deity for the fourth for the name of their fourth month. That is pretty fascinating. Looks like there's a fast on the 17th day of the month. I don't see anything about the first day though. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave this up for a second so that people can look. I mean, we haven't even talked about any of the other holy days and what the symbolism of those days means. And quite honestly, I think it's probably a little bit above and beyond my pay grade to really look at that. But I mean, we look at light, temple, flower, flower, reed, eagle, wind, serpent, wind, eagle, reed, flower, eagle, condor, wind. So it'd be interesting to know what those are all about, right? We see a lot of Nisan, a lot of Tishri on these. These ones don't look to have a pattern too much to me. It's pretty much everything: creation, birth, fullness, quickening, creation, resurrection, Lord, prime. Yeah, I mean, that seems to hit pretty much all the major ones with that. Same thing here: adult, creation, prime, fullness, birth, resurrection. So I don't necessarily see anything there. I really don't understand the star calendars. John really lost me when he went here, but I imagine they're probably pretty important. Might be useful for somebody to take a look at that. But and then we just have the uniform versions of the calendars over here. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this up for another 30 seconds and just be quiet and then end this video. But again, not even really sure why I feel like I need to do this today, but I do, and I'm going to. And so I hope that somebody gets something out of this somewhere down the line, and I'll certainly be looking back at it. Have a blessed day, everybody.